welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Laura, aka Hammerhead, and y'all, I have some very exciting news. I'm officially moving to London in 9 days. I'm moving to London in 9 days, which is like, I'm a little speechless because like that just feels so crazy to me to say like, I'm moving to London. Like what, girl? Anyway, I'm so excited for this adventure. Like I just have such a good feeling about this move and like the new places I'm gonna see and where I'm gonna live. Like I can't express like how truly excited I am. But to live in London, I needed a visa and I officially received and was approved for my visa. I thought I would just walk you through the visa that I used to move there, the process of it, the cost, the timeline, the everything. Just walk you through like how I am now able to move to London without a job, without, anything kind of lined up, which is a little bit scary, don't get me wrong, but it's also very exciting to like have like an unknown adventure like waiting for you. So what we're gonna be talking about in this video real fast is going to be what is the visa, the elements of the visa, the timeline of the visa, the cost of the visa, and then the overall conclusion of everything that I have learned. So let's get into it. But also, I just want to say a little disclaimer. I'm not saying, oh, I did this and it worked for me, so therefore it's gonna work for you. I'm just saying this is what I did. And if it's helpful in like the timeline and cost aspect of it, great. But if you have questions, I would say definitely defer to like the UK government website or like, reach out to them and ask for your questions, because I am just a girl on the internet and I'm not trying to lead you astray. I'm not trying to like hamper your process, your visa process. I'm just telling you what I did, what worked for me. But again, I just want to say that. I just want to say that. All right, so first let's talk about the overview of the HPI. What is the HPI visa? Well, it stands for the High Potential Individual Visa. Thank you. I do have a lot of potential, absolutely. So for this visa to move over to the UK, you can move anywhere in the UK. I was honestly thinking about living in Glasgow for a little bit, but then I was like, I think because it's gonna be raining too much, I fear I will have seasonal depression. So I said, I'm gonna move to London instead. But I was almost gonna be in Scotland for a little bit. But anyways, also y'all, I wrote notes, like it's serious. But anyway, this is a 2-year visa and you don't need a job to get it. However, it's only offered to a very specific select group of, that sounds so like, oh, it's a select group of people, but it is a very like small group of people who it's offered to. So I'm gonna look at my notes to make sure I get the wording right. But this visa is offered to those who graduated within 5 years from a school that was on 250 best global schools lists when they graduated. Down below, I'll give a link that goes to all the different lists that are applicable for this visa. I graduated from UT Austin in 2022, so it also changes every single year. So if you, I don't think UT Austin is like eligible for HPI visas this year. So it really does depend on like where you go and what year you graduated. I'm super lucky that I got it, so woo woo. I was planning to move out of Texas anyway this year, and when I was planning to move, I was thinking like all over America, so maybe like Boston, maybe Colorado, maybe Chicago, maybe North Carolina, like, just all these different places. But then I remembered about the HPI visa and I realized I only had like 5 years to use it after I graduated. And this is my 3rd year being post-grad, so I was like, ooh, I should probably like, if I'm gonna use it, I should probably use it now rather than later. Okay, and for how long you can stay there for 2 years. And then there's only 2 restrictions with this visa. You can't access any public funds, and then you also can't be a sports person. So sorry if you want to be a professional football player on this visa, you cannot. Okay, and so there's 2 main components to this visa. There's ECTIS and then there's the actual visa. So it was not very clear on the website what ECTIS was. I just assumed it was like a first part of the visa all in one website, but it's not. So ECTIS is the part that you do first. ECTIS is like a national government agency that checks that your degree is valid for the visa that you're trying to apply for. So I clicked visa application, then I started working on my visa, and then it was like, what's your ECTIS number? I was like, oh, that's a different thing. Okay. So I realized that I had to do that first. It's like a whole different portal that you have to go to. I had to send off my transcript. I think I just had to send off my transcript. So I had to buy my transcript from my school and send it off to ECTIS. So anyway, you do your ECTIS first. So once you get your approval from ECTIS, you get a reference number. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And then you use that in your actual UK visa. So once you do your ECTIS and you apply and you get your approval, you have your actual UK visa. And with that, you just kind of fill it out. It's pretty basic questions, like asking your name, where you lived, where you've traveled, all that good stuff. And then you have to submit your national health surcharge, which is kind of expensive, but hey, that's just the way it goes sometimes. And then after you do everything, you fill everything out, you actually submit your visa and you have to pay the money, submit your visa. And after you send off your visa, that's whenever you schedule your biometrics appointment. So you are only able to schedule your biometrics appointment after you send off everything, you pay for everything, you sign off your visa. And once you send off your visa, that's whenever the website prompts you. They're like, okay, how do you want to do your biometrics appointment? Where do you want to do it? And it was not very clear. I was going on like all these Reddit forums because I was trying to figure out how to schedule my biometrics appointment. And that's how you do it. You don't schedule it. They give you the time to schedule it after you have submitted everything. And then from your biometrics appointment, you go into your appointment, you get your fingerprints taken, you get a picture of your face taken, and then you take like a slip that they give you, and then you have 5 days after your appointment to send everything off to wherever it needs to go. So I had to send it to like the UK visa office in New York. Personally, I went super early on a Friday to get my biometrics taken. I would recommend you go earlier because these places will fill up really, really, really fast. They're super efficient, don't get me wrong, but I think they might have been so efficient because I went so early in the morning. Would highly recommend you go early in the morning so that way the lines don't fill up. And also, I was super scared about like just the timeline of like the biometrics appointment because they were like, you only have 5 days to send off all your documents, all your supporting documents, your passport, your biometrics appointment slip. You only have 5 days after you do your biometrics appointment to send it off. And I was just scared that like I would procrastinate and then I wouldn't be able to figure it out. So I was just like on a mission to get it done that day. I didn't want to be stressed about it. I wanted to be done with it and I wanted to get it off of my plate. So I did it that day, and I would kind of like recommend that you do that as well, just so that way you're done with it and you don't have to worry about it anymore. But do what you want to do. So whenever you send off your visa and your biometrics appointment slip to the UK office, you will most likely have to send additional documents. I sent them literally every single document I had. Let me tell you, I sent them a copy of my diploma. I sent them a copy of my passport. I sent them bank statements. I sent them a copy of my application. I sent them the ECTS approval. I sent them my transcript. I sent them my actual passport. Like I sent them literally everything I had. Whenever you do your biometrics appointment, they'll give you a sheet of like what documents you need to send off. But I was like, I'm just gonna send you everything so that way like y'all don't need to worry about anything. I don't need to worry about anything. I don't need to feel like I forgot anything. That way it's just all right there and you don't have to worry about anything. During this whole thing, I was like, I'd rather play it so safe rather than so sorry. So now that we've kind of gone over like the elements of the visa, let's talk about the actual timeline of this visa. So the actual ECTS application itself was fairly short. It didn't take me super long to do. It only took me a long time because I had a question and I had to keep like chatting like the people. I had to keep chatting like the ECTS office because I was like, I'm confused on this question. And every single time I tried to tap them, it would take a long time. And then also it was like Easter Sunday, so they were off Friday and Monday. So it took me a little bit of like a while to get my answer for that one, but I got my answer, that's all that matters. And then the approval process was also pretty fast. I sent mine off on April 21st, and I got a response later on April 23rd that I was approved, that I was good to go, so that was amazing. Whenever I sent off the ECTS application, it did say like it could take up to like 6 to 8 weeks. Like they were like, you could have an answer by June 2nd. And so when I heard that, I was like, scary. But I think that's just like as a precaution in case things go wrong, they get super backed up, you know, in case something happens. But it did take me it didn't take me that long at all. It only took me 2 days, so that was super awesome. All right, and then so the actual visa application itself, I started working on the visa application a little bit earlier before the ECTS one. And then when I got to like the ECTS section on the visa, I was like, oh, oopsies, I gotta do the ECTS first. So I did the visa application over multiple days, and what was really nice is that you could save your info and then log in later at the same spot. So it wasn't like you had to like do all at once, that would have been really stressful, but you could like do it and then come back to it and then do it and then come back to it, which was awesome. It took me a few days just because I started and then I stopped, and then I wanted to make sure that I was taking my time with it, that I was reading everything very thoroughly. I just didn't want to play any games. I didn't want to like do something that was like a silly mistake. I was just like, I don't need to do anything crazy. I don't need to go crazy fast. I can take my time with this. You know, I wanted to kind of send it off by the end of May. That way I had all of May and like half of June to give myself time for this visa, just because I read that it could take 6 to 8 weeks, and I had booked my ticket. I was leaving like end of June no matter what. Like I had my ticket booked. I had booked my ticket. I had booked my ticket like well in advance. Moving to a new country is stressful, applying for a visa is stressful, and I wanted to just give myself time to thoroughly review everything and make sure I was doing it correctly and filling everything out right. It was just, I wanted to make sure, I wanted to dot my I's and, cross my T's and make sure it was all good. I was able to send off my visa application by Sunday, April 27th. And then once I sent it off, I was able to schedule my biometrics appointment for that same Friday, May the 2nd. So it was perfect timing. It was great. For my actual biometrics appointment, it was so fast. I think it took me like 10-20 minutes. I brought all my documents to the appointment. They didn't need them, but I thought I read that you needed to have them. So I just had them just in case. But also, I didn't know this, but the picture that they take at the biometrics appointment gets on your vignette. Ooh. So I'm glad because I look super cute in mine, but just a heads up, it will be in your passport. So know that if you want to, possibly do anything with your hair and makeup, just a little heads up from one to another, it will be in your passport. And then during my lunch break on that same Friday after my biometrics appointment, I went to a UPS office to send off my visa application because I was like, I'm not playing any games. I'm not procrastinating, I'm getting this done because also I didn't want to lose any documents. I wanted to send it off. I wanted it to be off my plate. So I went to a UPS office. They were super confused on like what an electronic return label was, and so was I. That was a very confusing process. The wording of like, they were like, you need to have like an electronic return label, and then everyone in the UPS office was like, I don't know what this is. And then I was like, well, I need to get back to work. So then I left and I just did it after work. In the end, they just wanted to have a return label already in like your documents. That way they could just send all your stuff back. That was it. It was just a very confusing process, but I'm glad I did it that same Friday. Whenever I was sending off my visa, if I wanted to get it there like the next day, I would have to pay $100 in shipping, and I was not about to pay that. So I just decided to do like the cheapest option of like ground shipping, where I would just get there like on Wednesday. And Mama is moving abroad, so she needs to save some money. And it got to the UK visa office on Wednesday, May 7th, so like 5 days later. Not too bad. And literally the whole time I was so anxious because I just wanted to make sure that my passport was somewhere safe, because like I have booked my Europe summer plans. So I was like, I need to make sure that my visa, or I need to make sure that my passport is safe, because that is a very important document that I don't want to have to replace. I was really like, just like, where's my passport during this whole time. And then 2 days later, on Friday, May 9th, I got an email that they had reached a decision about my application and that my passport was being transported back to me via a courier. And they didn't say anything about whether it was a positive or like a negative visa application process. They were like, we reached a decision. And I was literally like, please. I was literally so stressed. I remember I was at a coffee shop with my friends, and I was like, my tummy was hurting so much. I was like, I gotta go home. I'm stressed. But then 3 days later, on Monday, May 12th, I woke up to a beautiful email that said, your visa application has been approved and you are able to come to the UK. You are able to come from this time to this time. It was literally like the best news ever. I couldn't stop smiling. I can't stop smiling thinking about it. I'm so excited. Okay, anyways. And then 2 days later, on Wednesday, May 14th, I got my actual passport back in the mail. I was so happy to have my passport in my hands and open it and be able to see like, there she is, there's my vignette. It was just literally like a moment that felt like Goofy's yell. Like I was just so happy. So the total time of this visa application process, from me actually starting my actus application to me having in my hands my visa, my vignette, my passport, was a total of 23 days, which honestly, I was expecting it to take like a lot longer, but I'm so glad it was so fast and so speedy. All right, y'all, so we're getting to the real meat and potatoes of how much this actually cost. So let me just preface this, visas are very expensive. They're very expensive. Moving internationally is a very expensive process, and I saved up a long time for this. So, I don't know, I just wanted to put that out there. Visas are expensive, and when I was reading these numbers, I was very shell-shocked a little bit. I was like, that hurts. Whenever I was looking into this visa, I really wanted like a real person walking through what they ended up spending in the end. I just think it's super helpful to kind of know all the breakdown of costs, so I wanted to make sure that I did that for y'all. I literally went through everything of like how much I spent. I went through my credit card records, I went through my bank notices, I went through my email receipts. I'm not playing. I wanted to make sure I had everything correct for y'all. So, and I'm also gonna be walking through all the costs in dollars and pounds, just so that way y'all know wherever you are, how much it basically costs. So let's get into the cost of this visa. So the cost of Actus was $289.36 or £217.50. Did I say that right? Is that how like y'all say costs in England? I hope so. I hope that's right. But that's how much it costs for just Actus. Next up was the NHS surcharge, or the National Health Surcharge. And this one definitely cost a pretty penny. You have to pay a certain amount for each year that you're there. And because I'm gonna be there for 2 years, I had to pay $2,880.73 or £2,070. I hope I said that right. So for Actus, I had to submit my transcript, and at my school, you have to actually buy your transcript. So that was an unexpected $20 or £14.70. The visa application itself was $1,225 or £880. I will say for the visa application on the UK website, it says that it will cost you £880. But then whenever you actually have to pay it, it made me pay in dollars, and it made me pay $1,225, which is not a direct conversion. I wish it let me pay in pounds, because then it would have been like, oh, okay, I'm paying exactly like the correct pound. But I had to pay in dollars, which, because, you know, conversion is weird and, you know, money moves back and forth, I ended up spending $50 or $75 more than I thought I would, which wasn't horrible, but I just wasn't expecting that. So I don't know if it changes on the daily. I don't know if that amount changes like with like, you know, price conversions and currency and world events or anything, or if they just have two separate amounts in pounds and dollars. But either way, something to look out for. And then because I don't have a printer, I had to print a lot of documents to send off with my visa application. So I ended up spending $14.09 printing documents or £10.36 printing documents. And then because I actually had to send it off somewhere, I paid $27.93 for shipping or £20.54 for shipping. And so the last financial thing is, technically you don't need to pay this to anyone, but you just need to have money in your bank account. That way they can make sure that like you have some funds to take care of yourself. As of today, I just converted it today. It was different whenever I applied, it was a little bit lower, but as of today, you would need $1,727. You would need $1,727 in your bank account or £1,270 in your bank account. All right, so that's basically everything. Overall, it was a pretty fast and easy process. I'm so excited it's officially done. The main thing that really took me so long was saving up all my funds to make sure I could actually like pay for this move and pay for this visa. So that did take me like a long time to save up, but the actual visa application process, 23 days, pretty fast, pretty painless. So that was awesome. And I'm just really, really excited to move to London. I really hope this was a helpful video talking about like the visa application process, the timeline, the costs, the everything. I really hope it was helpful. And if it was, if you could please give it a like, I would really, really, really appreciate it. And I'm moving to London in a few days now. Holy cow. If you want to see some London adventures, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And I just want to say, like, this was just such a big decision, you know, like this was just such like a big jump and like a big risk that I'm taking, but it just feels very right. And like, you know, whenever like you just say something and like you just get really calm because it just feels so right. Like that's, ever since I was just brainstorming ideas of where I wanted to move and I landed on London, like it was just like, that's the move. Like it just feels so right. And I feel like the whole process has been pretty simple and streamlined. Not easy per se, but it's been very figure outable and not too like hard. And it just feels like this is just the right move. And it feels very good to kind of like take a chance on yourself and kind of give yourself a big risk and like push yourself out into the unknown. And I'm just really excited about this journey. So anyways, I don't know. I just wanted to say that. It'll be really fun, but I really hope this was helpful to you. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Okay, y'all take care now. Bye.